I want to thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you guys. I'd like to get straight to it. A lot of people are blown away by the media's report of your opinions on your daughter's condition. So let me ask you two for your side of the story.
Yeah.
My child was born on October 11th, and since then, we've had people hounding us about her condition. Doctors have told us that we only have two real options, either an extremely risky and invasive surgery to potentially give her an additional 20 years of life, in poor condition that is, or let her live out these next 2 years with us. I gave birth to my child. You think that we just made this decision without thinking? This is our baby, and we don't want to see her suffer.
Yeah, I mean, what's 20 years of life if there are years of pain and agony? 20 years at best, that's what we were told. Even with the surgery, she would never really have any cognitive abilities and would never really get to experience the full human experience of life.
We know what we're doing, and we know what we chose to do. Our primary concern is and always will be ensuring the best for our child.
Listen, we don't want to go through having a child deal with agony her whole life. This is her life too. She's the one experiencing it. It's just really selfish to not consider that.
What does your physician think about your decision?
Dr. Newman's been very involved from the beginning, right? I mean, he's only explained to us numerous times that the surgery will open up doors to many more issues. Dr. Newman, what is your opinion on baby Jane Doe's condition?
My professional opinion, baby Jane Doe presentation of microcephaly will almost certainly lead to severe developmental delays. My qualifications with cases as such make withdrawing from surgery the optimal choice, for surgery will only increase the pain the child is in. The infant's condition is already limiting her ability to experience comfort, and this surgery is classified as being under medically unacceptable standards. Spina bifida will only complicate the procedure.
What is the spina bifida you're talking about?
Spina bifida is an opening in the spinal column due to its failure to close in utero. It is also associated with hydrocephalus.
And what is hydrocephalus?
Hydrocephalus is excess fluid in the brain. It is treated with a shunt inserted into a ventricle, but this option comes with a risk of infections such as meningitis.
Wow, and do you have any other reasoning for abstaining from the surgery?
With surgery, Jane Doe will possibly live to 20 years with little likelihood of ever achieving meaningful interactions with her environment and interpersonal relationships. She will likely be bedridden for her entire life with paralysis of the lower extremities, a likely outcome of the surgery. With the child's current history of infection, surgery only complicates the existing problems. She already has had pneumonia and meningitis. It would be cruel to put the child through that.
Dr. Butler, what are your thoughts on the case of baby Jane Doe?
I tend to agree with Dr. Newman's assessment that even with surgery, baby Jane Doe will overall have a low quality of life and likely not live as long as the average person.
So you agree that the child will be paralyzed and will be handicapped for life?
Well, not all of that is necessarily true. I've seen similar cases where children have been able to walk, speak, and communicate with those around them. I see no reason to believe that baby Jane Doe will not be able to experience regular human feelings and develop connections with family and friends.
Dr. Newman has stated that due to the small size of the baby's head, baby Jane Doe will almost certainly be mentally handicapped. Do you dispute this?
Actually, the infant's head is still technically within the normal size range for her age. At this point, I would say it's nothing more than speculation to suggest that she will certainly be mentally challenged and unable to experience emotions. With surgery, I believe that baby Jane Doe could lead a far higher quality of life than Dr. Newman's prognosis suggests. I'm very grateful that Justice Melvin Tannenbaum has granted me this case, as I feel it is my ethical duty to protect the best interests of baby Jane Doe. The parents of this child, in light of the option for surgery to correct the child's spina bifida and hydrocephalus, have elected to decline this procedure in favor of palliative care. Now, baby Jane Doe has just as much of a right to live as any other human, and her life should be preserved at all costs until she is old enough to make the decision for herself. It is for this reason that I believe the surgery should be mandated against the wishes of her parents.
The parents of baby Jane Doe have made this decision from an extremely well-informed position and after much deliberation. The inherent risks of this surgery have been made abundantly clear by both the Stony Brook Neurological Department and Dr. George Newman's enlightening testimony. While the more passive route chosen by the child's parents has a higher mortality rate than surgery, it also has the potential to save baby Jane Doe from many years of intense pain and poor overall quality of life. In addition, we feel that Mr. Washburn is not qualified to speak for baby Jane Doe's best interests due to his insufficient knowledge of her condition or the specific reasons why her parents chose to opt out of surgery. Not to mention the fact that he possesses no relation whatsoever to the infant.
Make no mistake, I fully support baby Jane Doe's parents and their ability to make competent decisions regarding their own child. However, I strongly believe that it's their decision that was based on multiple instances of misinformation delivered by the testimony of Dr. George Newman. Dr. Newman has stated repeatedly that baby Jane Doe, after undergoing surgery, would remain bedridden, be subject to constant infections, and would likely be paralyzed from the waist down for the remainder of her life. He's also argued that due to the small size of her cranium, she would never really have cognitive development and would be unable to experience human emotions or qualities. We do not believe that any of these prognoses are completely accurate or even necessarily true. Children in similar situations to baby Jane Doe have gone on to live lives with adequate ambulatory capacity and mental ability, and even with moderate social skills. Thus, we believe that the decision made by the parents of the infant is indicative of the way medical teams tend to neglect, and we advocate for immediate surgery to preserve the life of baby Jane Doe.
Thank you to all parties involved for informed testimony. From what has been presented in this court, it is apparent that even with surgery, baby Jane Doe will be subject to constant infections and other maladies throughout her life. I agree with the Stony Brook physicians and Dr. Newman's assessment that she will be mentally handicapped and will have an absence of personality, but could experience some emotion, and she will definitely experience pain. However, this child's life is clearly in imminent danger. She has an independent right to survive, and as an infant who lacks the autonomy to make her own decisions, that right must be protected and upheld by the state. In situations such as this, where a life is in jeopardy and the parents have elected to provide no surgical care, this court will order such care. I thus rule in favor of immediate surgery for baby Jane Doe in order to correct her medical deficiencies and preserve life at all costs. This court is now adjourned.